Okay, right. So as I record, we have discussed until the 22nd question last time, so of 2016 paper, right? Good morning. Yes, baby. That is doing the class, baby. I'm not sure. Very good. What's happened? Okay, you brush your teeth, then it will be okay. Yeah. Front to me, front to me. Right. So in 2016 paper, we are starting from question number 23. So question number 23. What is domain? Hold on. What is the domain name of the URL? http://www.bbc.com. Right. So you know that domain name is stand for the things which hold with the www, and after the .com, the /sport, the /cricket is about like the things which explains what are the resources, or like what are the either it's explaining a resource or it is explaining the path to a resource, right? So now here /sport/cricket is like still it is not defining what kind of a thing is cricket. It is much better if they had it like cricket.html, right? So it will give us the clue what is the resource that we are going to refer at the end. So 23 is just asking about the domain name, right? So domain name goes with the third one, right? So let's check the answer from there. Let me take the marking scheme as well. Right, so 23. Yeah, it says the fourth answer. Is it the answer that we talk about? Hold on. Yes, it is with that is kind of a problem. bbc.com. Yes, that's my mistake. So like it's better we go with the www.bbc.com, right? Even though www is the service. So http is the protocol, www is the service, but www.bbc.com can be taken as the domain name. Just a second, I need to confirm it.
Look, this is your slime. A sparkle is so good. Sparkle so much. Look.
Oh, yes. In your book, they just went with the www without the www, right? So there are ways of saying it. It's better you stick into this, right? Like google.com, edupubgov.lk, ni.lk, right? So in that manner, you are going to take the answer as the fourth one, bbc.com. So like this particular part will be considered as the path to the resource, or at the very end there can be the resource as well. And this is called the the protocol HTTP, hypertext transfer protocol, and www is considered as the service, World Wide Web, one of the service in the internet. So 23rd one goes with the fourth answer, bbc.com. So the 25th next, which of the following will appear in cell C3 if the formula count A1 colon B3? Yes, so A1 colon B3 means the range is this particular area, right? Rather this. Yeah, this is the area which has A1 colon B3. And we are using the count function. And remember people, when we are using the count function, it counts only the values, right? Now, in case if you had a simple A inside this cell, still you are going to have the answer as 5. So the correct answer is 5 because it counts only the values. And even though you got a character in this cell, still you are going to receive the 5 because count function is counting just the cells which contains a value, not a text value, right? Okay, so moving forward, 26th is there to talk. So 26 says the cell A3 contains the formula equals some $A1 colon A2. Which of the following will appear in cell B3 if the formula is copied to cell B3? Right, so like now cell B1, right? So cell A3 contains $A1 colon A2. So A3 means this. So this contains $A1 colon A2. So this is regarding the sum function. So this means this is having the addition from the range is going to be $A1. So starting from here and A2, right? So you can see 4 plus 1 is 5. And what they are suggesting is this particular formula is copied into this particular cell in B3. So here in this formula, there is absolute cell reference and the relative cell references. This A is the one who's applied with the absolute cell reference. So that A is not going to change, right? And other components are going to change relatively. What do you mean by relatively? So like according to the place that you are going to copy, the number of rows, the value of the row and the value of the column, the headers are going to change. Now here, we are going to copy, since we are going to copy it to this cell, so we are copying it on the same row, right? Which is the row number 3. So row header in the formula is not going to change, right? And the component that is going to change is the column header, right? Because we are when we are copying along a row to the rightwards or to the left side, right? The row number or the row header is not going to change. It is the column header that is going to change. So when you are copying this to this particular place, so sum will be there as it is. Brackets will be there, $A will be there. Nothing is going to change that. 1 is not going to change because it is copied on the same row. Colon will be there, and A is going to change to the B, right? Because it is the one which is going to change relatively. 2 is going to be there as it is. So your new range is $A1 colon B2. So $A1 starting from here, B2 is right over here. So this is the new range which is going to effects on the B3 cell. So sum will give the addition. So 4 plus 5 is 9 plus 1 is 10 plus 2 is 12. So your answer is going to be the fourth one. Okay, people, did you got this? Yes. All right, great. Great, brilliant. All right, so moving to the next one, which is the 26th, right? 27th. What tool in electronic presentation software can use to change the style of a slide from style 1 to style 2? So here what they are referring to is the layout, right? So in first slide, they are just having a title text box and the content text box. In the second style, they are having a title text box and two uh, components, or like the columns to there to indicate the to put the contents, right? So altogether there are three text boxes, right? Three text boxes in order, like there are two working areas and one text box at the top. So it is the layout that we are going to change. So this layout can be changed from the slide layout. Ah, yes, right. Okay, Himanadi. So you got the problem solved. Well done, though. So this is going to be the slide layout, right? So it's not the slide designing. Slide designing will give you the give you to apply different kinds of themes and colors to your slides, and slide sorter will definitely not uh, arranging the things, because slide sorter is there to arrange all your slides and sort it out, like if you need to change the order, if you need to move your slides here and there, slide sorter will help you, right? And slide view is the view that you and me always working with, right? So when we are editing the slide, we are on the slide view, right? So it's the slide layout which can change the layout of a slide, right? So it's a third one. And 28, what tool in electronic presentation software is used to manage how text and images appear when making presentation using slideshow? Now this is talking about the contents on a slide, right? So they are asking about how to change or how to manage the text and the images appear when making a presentation using the slideshow. So now you can have a ball, you can have a car, so those things can be appeared and disappeared on the slide. So those are objects. So when we are working with the objects, the movements and the appearances, disappearances, and some the activities, or like some animations happening on the slide when you are doing the presentation, it's the animation that you are going to use, right? So animation can only be applied to the objects of a slideshow. For the entire slide, when a slide is changing from one slide to another slide, we can use slide transition, right? So that is regarding the total slide. It is not regarding about the objects on it, right? So for the answer, of the 28th, it's going to be the animation, right? It's not the slide design, definitely. As I told you, it's about the colors and themes and all these things. It's not the slide layout. We get to know about the slide layout. It's not the slide transition, because they are talking about the text and the images on your slide. So it's going to be the animation, right? And 29th, which of the following show data transfer speed of secondary storage devices arranged in an ascending order? Now, ascending order means the lowest data transfer speed is going to be at the first. Then the highest data transfer speed is going to as the going to have at the end of the list, right? So now the floppy disks and magnetic tape kind of things, those are going to be the slowest uh, uh, data transfer speeds, right? Those are going to have the slowest data transfer speeds. And then the CDs and DVDs, right? Then the magnetic tape, sorry, the hard disk, the magnetic storage type, actually the specifically the hard disk, right? So like floppy disk and magnetic tape kind of things is at the beginning, and then the CDs, DVDs, Blu-rays kind of things, they are like faster than the floppy disk and the magnetic tape kinds. Then the hard disk, it is larger than, or like this, its speed is greater than the CDs and all these things. And finally, the solid state drivers, like the solid state disks and pen drives and SD cards, those kind of things. So those are having a higher data, uh, what we call the data transfer rate or data transfer speed, uh, when we are uh, considering those factors, right? So the first answer is starting from solid state, and second you have the magnetic hard drive. So definitely solid state is a speeder one, or like the fastest one. So one is not going to be your answer. So the very same way, fourth is not going to be the answer. Same as the both of them has solid state and magnetic hard drive in incorrect order. So from the second and third, after the floppy disk drive, it should be DVD drive, then after magnetic hard drive, then finally the solid state hard drive. So it's going to be the third one as your answer. Right, people, so far, is it okay? Is it clear? Just give me a confirmation. Right, great. So moving to the 31st question. Right. 31st question is talking about some statements, and they are asking which is going to be, yeah, which statement use the ICT effectively. Now, the first statement is a little bit controversial here. A student obtained medical advices from a doctor by contacting him over the telephone. Now, here the telephone means the traditional telephone, not the smartphone or anything, right? So upon on that fact, this particular statement is going to fail of having the ICT effectively, because when we are having the medical advisors over the phone, like as an audible thing, it's not an effective way of dealing, right? But if you take nowadays through the smartphone using the video conference tool or instance messaging tool, we can talk with the doctor like face to face, right, virtually. So he or she will asks for the symptoms and all these things, and will be given the advices if it is advisable through the mobile phone. If it is critical, he or she may ask you to like contact a doctor which is near to you, or just visit to him. Otherwise, you can have the medical advices through a video conference tool, uh, like uh, like seeing the doctor virtually face to face, right? But here they are talking about audio conversation, right? So like using the traditional telephone, which is not a very effective manner of having the medical advices, right? So A is fail on this particular uh, requirement. So the B, it says an automated system based on the humidity and temperature release water to plants in a greenhouse. So which is a very correct and effective way of using ICT in agricultural sector, right? So the controlling of the greenhouse, it is automated. So to do the automation, you need a computer, right? Then the part C, a teacher purchases a book which is not available in Sri Lanka from an online bookshop, which is category under the e-shopping, or like electronic shopping, right? Or online shopping. So which is definitely related with the ICT, and it is an effective way of using that, right? Otherwise, that particular teacher either have to like but to visit that country and take the book, and have to contact someone in that country and ask them to mail it to her, right? Like from the email or something, right? Or through a courier service like DHL. So it will take time, and it will hard to contact on those kind of scenarios. But when you are having a facility online, you can just we only need some like several mouse clicks to add the book into our cart and get check out and get paid, like checking out and to pay, right? So the part C is correct, so we can take B and C as the correct answer. Moving to the 34. Yeah, consider the following four numbers presented in different number system. Yeah, which of the following statement is true regarding the above four numbers? Dulabutala, just excuse me for a moment. I'm getting a call from this school. Right. So in this particular question, we need to figure out what is the bigger and what is the smaller. Like by looking at it, we won't be able to figure it out because those are in four different number systems. So we have to do the calculation. So how we are going to do the calculation? We quickly go through the things. So like there are binary, hexadecimal, octals, and a decimal. So the easiest way that you can do is you can convert the binary value into a octal and hexadecimal quickly, right? Like just by grouping, right? So I'm going to do it on that manner. Here comes the binary value. And I'm going to group this I'm going to make the groups which contains 3 bits inside it, starting from my right hand side. It is a very it should be done very carefully, which you are going to start it from your right hand side, right? Don't start it from the left hand side to do the grouping part. Start from the right hand side and goes to the left. So then each and every group contains a 3-bit value, or a binary value which contains 3 numbers. Consider that as a decimal value and convert it into the decimal equivalent. So to do that, we use these place values, which is 1, 2, and 4. Here you are having 1, 2, and 4 again, and here you are having 1 and 2, right? So this is going to give you 3, this is going to give you 6, and this is going to give you 3 again. 363 in octal. It's going to be the octal one. So we are having that value. So binary value and the octal are equal to each other, right? And let's do the hexadecimal conversion quickly. So to do the hexadecimal conversion, it is the group of fours or group of 4 bits starting from your right hand side. And those will take the place values like 1, 2, 4, and 8. Here it's 1, 2, 4, and 8. So we only going to add the places, the place values, which has a 1 above that place value. So like here 2 plus 1 is 3. Here everything is having a 1. So that means it's going to give you 15. So 15 means in hexadecimal value, it represents F. So F3 hexadecimal is going to be your answer. So F3 hexadecimal is correct as well. Correct means like equal to the binary value. So all three things are equals, but still we cannot go for a answer because the answers are like if 316 is larger than other three numbers, we can say it is no because there are equal values, and 363 is the smaller than other three numbers. No, there are equals. Four numbers are equals to each other, which we don't know because we have to check again. 243. Four numbers are not equal to each other. Still we don't know, we have to check 243. Right, so for that we have to calculate how 243 works with this particular scenario. So let's see how it works. So I'm going to uh, take the binary value, right? I'm not going to do the traditional way because everyone knows about it, like taking 243 and dividing by 2 and finding the binary value. I'm going to remind you how you are going to do it on the other way around as well. So you got the binary value. So I'm going to write the place values right over here. So 1, 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64, 128. So we are going to add these things very quickly, and there are ways of doing it in a very short way. So we can consider 128 and 32. And the 120 plus 30 is going to give you 150. 8 plus 2 is going to give you 10. So this will give you 160. You can consider 64 and 16. 64 plus 6 is 70. 70 plus 10 is 80. Right? And these 2 and 1 will give you 3. We are not going to consider 8 and 4 because we got zeros over those. Right? So 160 plus 80 means 240. 240 plus 3 means 243. So everything equals to each other. So third one is going to be your answer. Four numbers are equal to each other. Okay, people, confirm that you got the method of doing this. Right, great. Himanadi, you can download the video from the in the website tour, right? It is there in the Starlabs website, right? And you have to search for the correct date, right? When you go to the starlabs.lk, from this lesson recording, you can go for the Starlabs recording, right? And scroll down the page, you will see there are a lot of videos, and go to the grade 11 session. And in there, in the playlist, you have to find your video from the date, right? Then you can search for it. People, just excuse me for a moment. Okay. Good evening. Can I? Oh. Oh. Oh, oh, class එකේ ඉවර වෙච්චම මම 8:30 හරි 8:30 වලට මට පොඩ්ඩක් මතක කරන්න 8:45 हाँ 8:45 हाँ 8:45 में right. Okay, so yeah, you can have it, and you can go and refer that. It doesn't matter, right? And for downloading to a you have to go for the YouTube to download this, right? එතකොට මේ reference එකෙන් ඕන YouTube වලින්ම open කරගන්න පුළුවන්, or else you can go to the YouTube and search for this particular video, then it will be there, right? Okay, so we are moving forward. So after 34th, it's the 36th. Yeah, so it's going to be a Pascal program, and they are asking what is going to be the output, right? So 36, the Pascal program has started like program repetition. Now මම මෙහෙම චුට්ටක් Pascal මතක් කරගෙන යන්නම්, right? Program is going to be a keyword. It must be there to start a program. It is the defining line of the program, and repetition is an identifier. That is something that we can give, right? So we can have any name to that position. That doesn't matter. And again, this within brackets input comma output should be there at this with a semicolon at the end, right? So that is how we are going to start the Pascal program, right? Then var is indicating variable, which is a keyword, must be there when you are defining your variables. And then the variable name x, you can give any name regarding that, and it should be on the manner like according to the rules that you are going to identify an identifier, right? So how we are going to identify an identifier, or like write an identifier? The first letter is going to be, the first character should be a character, right? That means something from capital A to Z, or something from simple A to Z, right? The rest of the characters can be numbers, letters, and underscores, as I remember. Let me confirm it, because I'm getting things mixed up with the A-level programming language, which is the Python. Yeah. Yeah, yes. The first letter can be a underscore as well. Hold on. No, it's only should start with an English letter, right? So the first one is going to be the English letter. So either the capital ones or the simple ones, right? Then later you can have letters, numbers, and underscores, right? So those are the only things that you can use, right? So first letter is going to be a character, and next rest of the things can be a character, can be an underscore, and can be a number, which is from 0 to 9, right? So remember that. So very simple questions can be asked from this particular place, right? Okay, then after the begin, this is a must, right? Because you should have the begin keyword to identify to the Pascal what is the what are the statements that you are going to execute. So that is indicated from the beginning, so the begin and the end. So with the end you should have a full stop mark as well, right? Other than the end, in the statements, at the end of each statement you are going to have a semicolon. That is again at the end of the statements, right? Not on structures and all these things, right? Okay, so x colon equal 1, so this means you are getting a variable called x, and it is assigned the value 1. And then the repeat until block is there. So this is the repeat until block. So you know the repeat until block will get execute at least one time because the condition is checked at the end. So this particular one will happen and this particular statement will happen, then only check in the condition, right? So if that condition is false, I repeat it, if that condition is false, then repeat until is going to iterate. If it is true, the repeat until is not going to iterate. That means you are going to end the loop or end the repetition when the condition is true. Okay, now let's like roll through the iteration, right? So it says x equals 1, repeat, write x. So I need a display or the right column as well, right? So it says write x. So write x, remember it is write x, not the write ln. So what is the difference between write and write ln? Write ln means you are writing one single line, then move the cursor to the next line, right? So the next particular writing will be happens like at the below of the previous writing. That is regarding the write ln, write line. Write does what? It is just writing thing or printing thing on your screen in a horizontal manner. So the first component will get printed and space will be there. So the cursor will be moved with a one space. And the second one will be printed and the cursor will move with another space. So likewise. So write will print it on a one single row. It's not going to create new lines. Right? ln is always creating a new line. So printing and creating a new line. Again, printing and creating a new line. Right? So if you got a right ln, your output is going to be something like this. And if you got a right, your output is going to be something like this. Right? So let's see what the correct answer is. So x is 1. So they are saying write the x, right? Then they are asking to increase x by 1. So x will become 2. And they are checking the condition whether x is equals to 3. Now x is 2. 2 is not equals to 3. So it is false. So repetition happens. So this one is going to happen again. So x is written and then x is increment by 1. So it is 3. Then it is checking again whether 3 is equals to 3. Now it is correct. So it gives you the value true. So the iteration stop. So the program stops. So your writing will happen with 1 and 2, and 1 and 2 will happen in this manner. So the second one is the correct answer. All right, people, did you got this? All right, great. Right, moving forward, the 37th. Consider the following pseudocode with label X to calculate the sum of numbers from 1 to 100. Now, this is a little bit tricky. It's like you have to work on this, right? Otherwise, your answer will get, your answer will like drive into an incorrect position, right? We'll see how it happens, right? So they are talking about a pseudocode and they are having the label X at the until. So you know this is going to be a condition. So your answers are conditions. So you have to check what condition is going to be. What is that condition is going to be? And the repeat until structure, as we discussed earlier, it should have a condition which output false to do the repetition. If it outputs true, the repetition won't happen. Okay, let's hand trace this and see. So sum is there and num is there, right? So sum is having 0, num is having 0 as the very first two lines. Then it says repeat, num equals num plus 1. So I'm going to increase it by 1. Sum equals sum plus num. So 0 plus 1 is going to be 1. Then they ask for the condition. Now let's look at the conditions. Num less than 100, num less than or equals 100, num larger than 100, num larger than or equals 100. So let's check. Now num is 1 less than 100. So if this condition was here with the until, so 1 less than 100, so this gives you the output true. That means the iteration stops. That means this is not going to give you the sum of numbers from 1 to 100, because we have to iterate 400 times to do what? To perform this calculation, 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus until the 100. So that is our motive, right? So in the algorithm, the way they are trying to do that is first they add 0 plus 1, then they take the total as 1, then they are going to add 1 plus 2, then they are going to have total as 3, then they are going to do 3 plus 3 as the 6 as their answer. So then they are going to do 6 plus 4 likewise, then 10 as the answer. So what happens over here? So you can see there are numbers which increased one after the other, right? And in your program, this is the one which goes one after the other, right? Which increase one after the other. So this indicates num, right? And here what they have done is they have taken a total, and that total is taken to the next step as the previous total or the existing total, and add up with the incremented value of 1. That is what has happened in every steps. 3 is being generated as the new total, so that new total is going to be the old total right over here, right? Then added with the incremented now. So the value is going to be 6. So 6 is being taken as the existing total. So then it is added with the incremented value of now. So it's the same thing right over here. But when we comes to do that, when we need to do it in a programming method, in an algorithmic method, this is the way that we are going to handle it, right? So now you can realize this 1, 2, 3, 4 incremental thing should increase until the 100. So there will be some existing total there and will be equals to something, right? So anyway, it should goes from 1 to 100 and it should stop from 100. But when you consider the very first condition, it's stop after executing one time, because 1 less than 100 is true, so it stops. So this is not going to be your answer. In the very same way, the second one, num is 1 less than or equals 100. So it is not equals, but it is less than. So again, it's going to give you true and it stops. So it is not going to be the answer. The other two are quite opposite of the first two. So like 1 larger than 100, which is a false. So it's going to continue, right? And I have written all over the fourth answer. So I'll write the fourth answer right over here, right? So the fourth answer is num less than, larger than or equals 100. So again, it's going to continue due to this reason, right? So that means 1 larger than or equals 100. So it is false, right? So it continues. Now the problem is which one of the third or the fourth is going to be your answer, right? So let's think about the flow that has happened. So I told you when it comes to the 100, it should stop. So now when you are having the 100 right over here, when you are having the 100 larger than 100, so that means num has incremented to 100 right over here. So it becomes 100, and then it is being added right over this place. Then you should stop. Otherwise, your total is going to be a wrong one. So which condition that stop the iteration? So you know to stop the iteration in a repeat until, you should have a true condition after this. So 100 larger than 100. Is it true? No, it is false.
How can I take it out? No, instead of slime, I love playing slime.
Right, okay. You can play with slime with me. Control me. Right, so 100 larger than 100. It is false. So still it continues. So due to that reason, third one is not going to be your answer. In the fourth, it says num larger than or equals 100. So when the 100 is larger than or equals 100, it is not larger than, but it is equal. So it's going to give you true. So it stops. So the fourth one is going to be your answer, which is num larger than or equals 100. Okay, people, did you got this? Great. All right, so moving to the 38th. Oh, sorry. It's right over here. Yeah, the 38th one is talking about the flowchart. So flowchart, they are saying they are trying to find the smallest value from this flowchart of any given 10 numbers. So let's clarify this. So it starts, it inputs n, and min is equals to n and count is equals to 1. So we don't know about n. Neither. So it start. So let's take n as 10. Right? We just assume a value. Right? Lalindi, we are counting the 100th value, right? It is not the case of counting it. I think you are asking, referring to the previous question. So it's not about the counting doer. Like they are increasing, like they are take a variable. They have take a variable, and they keep it adding to the previous totals, right? So like I show it right over here. So when the things happens on that manner, right, because num is going to increase like 1 2 3 4 kind, right? So in the very first time, this is going to be 1. මෙතන 1 උනයි පස්සේ තමයි මෙතන check වෙන්නේ whether 1 is less than 100. I'm sorry, 1 is larger than or equals 100 කියලා. Right? So in that logic, we can understand when this become 100, I'm sorry, when this become 100, the sum will be added with 100. Then it will check whether 100 is larger than or equals to 100. Right? So here, it is not directly with the counting doer. It is regarding whether whether this calculation is adding up the numbers from 1 to 100, right? So like adding the 100 at this point is satisfy our requirement. which is taking the values from 1 to 100, right? You can have to make this when this step happens, our requirement is fulfilled, right? We have added up everything until 100. So then it should stop though, right? To stop it, it should be a larger than or equal, because larger than is not going to stop the things, right? Okay, Lalindi, well done. Right?
Smell.
It is smelling. Okay, run for me, yeah? And we will do the thing, right?
Yeah.
All right, so now regarding this point, oh, people, just a second. This is giving me some hard time. Okay. Yes, now regarding the hand tracing, now n, we are giving any number to the n because we don't know what the n is. In the flow chart, they are just saying they are going to choose the smallest from any given numbers, any given 10 numbers. So n is, we are going to take 10, the very first value of n is 10. So min is assigned with the n. So that means there will be a variable called min, and it is also having 10 because min is assigned with n. And there is a count to count the things, and it says 1, right? So then, excuse me, right, then there is a condition. It checks whether count is less than 10. So 1 is less than 10. It is. So it goes with the yes part. Then it asks to input another n. So that means let's input something else. I'm going to input 20. So this is cancelled, right? Because when you are given a value to the end, the previous value will get replaced, right? So then it checks whether n is less than min. So now n is 20, less than min is 10. So it is not true. So it goes on the no part and do this particular process. Count equals count plus 1. So count will become 2. Then it goes again and checks the condition. Now count is 2. 2 is less than 10. Still yes. So going down. Input n. I'm going to input 6. So 20 is replaced from 6. So then they check whether 6 is less than 10. Then it is an yes. That means it's not going on this path, it's going to go on this path, the yes path. Then we are meeting up with the Q. So what should happen when we go on this path? It is a process, right? And I have given 6. Now 6 is less than 10. So minimum cannot be 10 now, it should be 6. So that means in here, you have to assign the value of n to the min variable. Otherwise, it's going to give you an incorrect output. So then, because of that, this should be something like this. Min equals n. So n is going to assign to the min. Right? So in that case, q is going to be min equals n. And likewise, it will goes until 10 numbers. So after the 10 numbers, it's going to stop. So stopping means you are going to go on this path now. So you find P is an output. So it is the thing that we need to output, which is the smallest number. So your key P is going to be output min, because min has the smallest value, right? And Q is min equals n. So it's going to be the very first one. Okay, people, did you got this? Right, how about others? Right, okay. Right, great. All right, so then they are asking which of the following statement is correct related to the control structure given in the flowchart. So they are asking whether it is a selection inside a repetition or repetition inside a selection or repetition inside a repetition or a selection inside a selection. Now, how we are going to figure this out? It's easy, right? To do that, I have to clear these things I have drawn on the flowchart. So I'm clearing it. And either, like, regardless of a repetition or a selection that occurs from a condition, right? So that condition can be a selection or a repetition. So you can recognize a selection when you are observing a condition, the path, the flow of that flow regarding that condition is going to join in a common path again, like this. See, when in this condition, either you go on this path and join with this, or if it is yes, you go on the lower path and you join with this. So like meeting together, or like, like hop into a common path again due to a condition, if it goes like that, it can be recognized as a selection. So the condition will divide the road, but at some point it's going to get together or to put into a common path. So it is a selection. And another condition, or if you consider about the other condition, it helps you to iterate. මෙතනින් පහළට આવොත්, right? If this flows, it flows all the way, either on this side or in this side. It goes here and comes to right over here, right? So if you think about the manner, it's going to be an iteration. And there is another way that you can recognize this. In a condition, if you find a path which stops the iteration. Now, if you go on this path, iteration does not happen. Iteration stops from that particular place, from that particular condition. May condition again iteration එක stop කරන්න බෑ, because it's not leading to the stop. This is the place where you are leading to the stop. So the place or the condition which leads you to the stop, right, in one path of it, or in one road of it, is going to recognize as an iteration condition, right? So common path එකකට වැටෙනවා නම් it's going to be the selection condition. Iterative manner එකක් පෙන්නලා එක path එකක් iteration එක නතර කරලා වෙන පාරක යනවා නම් it is going to be the iterative condition, right? So this is considered as an iteration. So what happens here? Is it a selection inside an iteration or iteration inside a selection? So this is a selection inside an iteration, because iteration is the big circle. Selection like stays inside it. How we are going to recognize whether it is a selection inside an iteration? The other way around. The iteration inside an selection. Your flowchart is going to be something like this. Here comes the if condition, right, or the selection. So from this path, you may do something and you will be finding another condition. From there, they will do something and it will iterate, right? So it goes like this, right? So in the next part, it's going to do something and will falls to the, eventually it is going to falls to somewhere else, right? So the no path, let's say this is the yes path, so the no path is going to connect with this at some point, so here your iteration happens right over here, and iteration. But if you take a look at the picture, මේක මෙතනින් flow වෙලා මේ පැත්තට ඇවිල්ලා ඔහොම ගිහිල්ලා end වෙන්න පුළුවන්. Otherwise you can come and go around or go from here, then after, then you can end. නේද? මම අනිත් පාර වෙන පාටකින් අඳින්නම්, so it will be much clearer for you. Right? One path will be onto the green arrows. So green arrow එකෙන් ඇවිල්ලා මේ condition එකෙන් either it will be iterate or goes this path and will go lead to this point, or otherwise it will goes on this path and go in this path, again comes with the common path. So this kind of a structure we call selection, iteration inside and selection. So this is a selection. This condition is an iteration. Right? People, did you got this? People, was it hard? Do I need to go again? Okay. Okay, Himanadi. So I think you need the briefing regarding the iteration inside the selection. එහෙමද දුව? All right, okay. So look into this. My God. So Tara, just excuse me for Right. Right. Sorry, people. Nangi was like met in with an accident. Right. Yeah, Himanadi. So you can go with that. All right. Okay. So how about others? Is it okay? Do you want me to go again, people? Right. Right. Okay. Yeah. Let me do it. Let me do it in a bigger picture. Hold on. Yeah. So it's going to be like this. Here comes the flow. Here comes the condition. So it will have a yes path and it will have a no path. So let's say in the no path, we have done something and we are met in with another condition. And it has something else to do. And it shows you an iterative manner, something like this. So this is the yes path. This is the no path, right? And in the no path, let's say it is doing something else, like it shouldn't be always a process. You can have an input and output as well, or rather you can have nothing inside that, right? Then it leads to the end. And in this point, let's say it is giving something out and leads to the same thing, right? And let me have this arrow a little bit lengthier, and I'm going to end. Now, people, if you think about the flow, right? මේ උඩින් එන flow එක මේ side එකෙන් ආවොත්, right? මෙතනින් මෙතනට flow වෙන්න පුළුවන්. Either it will go on this side and will get iterate for several times, right? And when this condition, upon this condition, eventually it will go on this path and move to right here. Now, is it clear for you all? Yeah. Himanadi? Right. Now think about the other path. I'm going to mark it from the red. And if it flows on the ears path, it will flows right here and will move to this word, toward this side. And here you can find the common path. දෙන්නම එකතු වෙලා යන තැනක් මේක නේද? Right? So I told you earlier, if the things are moving to a common path, then it is going to be a selection. Then මේ පාරවල් දෙක දෙකට කැඩුවේ මෙයානේ. දෙපැත්තෙන් ගෙනල්ලා එකතු වෙනවා එක තැනකදී. So this is going to be a selection. So it's going to be your if condition in the pseudocode or in the Pascal. Are you getting this? People? Right, okay. Right. And if you look into this particular place, you can find an iteration right over here. Yes. So it shows you an iteration, definitely. So it's going to be an iterative condition because it shows you an iteration. Right. So there, the bigger one is the selection. Selection එක තමයි මේක penetrate කරන්නේ නේද? This bigger part මේ ඔක්කොම ඉන්නේ selection එක ඇතුලේ. Right, and this blue circle is inside it. So it is iteration inside a selection. Everyone, is it clear? Great, well done. Himanadi, how about you? Great. Again, if you need me to brief it again, just tell me. I can go through. Right. Okay, so moving forward, so the answer for the 39th, it's going to be what? Selection inside the repetition. So selection occurs within a repetition. So this is going to be your answer. Right. So the 40th, the very last hand tracing part. Right. So it is talking about a pseudocode. And again, we are finding repeat until and while, both loops there. So we have to have it very carefully when you are doing the what you call the hand tracing part. So let's start. So we got count and it is 0, right? And it says repeat. Okay, so say display hello. So we need a display. So display says hello. Then count equals count plus 1. So that means the 0 is going to increase to a 1, right? And it says, the condition says until count larger than 4. So this means count is 1 larger than 4. Is 1 is larger than 4? No. So that means it's going to iterate again. Display hello. Increase count by 1. So it becomes 2. Then check in the condition again. So this becomes 2. 2 is larger than 4? Still no. So going to happen hello again. Increase count by 1. So it's going to be 3. So now it's 3. Is 3 larger than 4? Still no. Going to happen this again. Hello. Increase the count by 1. 4. Now here you are going to have 4. Is 4 larger than 4? Still no. So again this is going to happen. Hello. And count is going to increase by 1. 5. Now 5 is here. So is 5 larger than 4? Yes. So the condition is true. So it exits from here to here. Now once it exits, it finds the while loop. So while loop is asking again a question whether 5 is larger than 4, because it says count larger than 4. Now you know while works when the condition is true. Repetition happens under the while when the condition is true. Now this condition is true. 5 is larger than 4. So that means this is going to happen. So which means hello is going to print again. And this is going to happen. Count is reduced by 1. So 5 will become 4. When you are at the end of the very last statement, like the statement before the end while, what you are going to do is you are going to go to the condition again and checks whether it is true or false. Right? So good, great. So now it's checking 4 is larger than 4. Right. Hold on. Be careful with this line, no? Right away. Go to one. That is working. Right. So is 4 larger than 4? No, it is false. So it ends. That means you are going to have hello for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times. So your answer is going to be 6. Everyone, is it clear with you? Right. So that concludes the MCQ part, right? So just count how many you got, right? And have how many out of 40, right? So I'm moving to the first question of the 2016 paper. Great, Himanadi. Well done. Right. So the first one, convert the hexadecimal number E9 to the equivalent octal number. So how you are going to do this? There are there are many ways of doing it. You can go like hex into a binary and binary into a octal, or you can go hex into decimal and decimal into octal, right? There are two ways of doing it. So let me quickly go through these things. Hold on, I need to make some room regarding this. Right, so they are talking about E9. So how we are going to do this? We take E9 and I'm going to convert this into a binary. How we are going to convert this into a binary? We are going to write it in the group of 4s, right? So how we are going to write these things in the group of 4s? So this has 1, 2, 4, 8, the place values. This has 1, 2, 4, and 8. And you know E represents 14, right? So 9 is going to represent as 1, 0, 0, 1. And 14 represent 8 plus 4 is 12. 12 plus 2 is 14. So this goes as 0. So we are having the number 1, 1, 1, 0, 1, 0, 0, 1. So to convert this binary value into an octal, what we are going to do is we are going to have the groups of 3s, or like have the group of 3 bits. So the place values are going to be 1 to 4 in each group. So here it's going to be 1, 2 because 4th place is not there. So by considering this, this is going to be 1, this is going to be 5, and this is going to be 3. So it's 351 in octal, right? So the other way is E9 can be converted into a decimal, a hexadecimal one. So that means this has the place value of 16 to the power 0. This has the place value of 16 to the power 1. Right? 16 to the power 0 means 1. 16 to the power means 16. So this has 14 and this has 9. So 16 into 14. Oh, you have to do the math. How many? Let's do it quickly. 10 4 4 so 6 is there, yeah 22, yes, 224, right? How did I took 224? 14 into 16, 224 plus 1 into 9 will give you 9. This is my working, right? So this gives you what? 233 in decimal, right? So to convert this into the octal, we have to take 233 and divide it by octals, the 8, right? So this gives you how many? 2, 16, 7 is remaining, 73, it's 9, 1 is remaining. So when you divide 29 by 8, you are going to have 3 and 5 is remaining. So you can take these values as your answer, or some may know it like this. You are dividing 3 by 8, so 0 and 3 is remaining. So you can take the answer by considering only the remainders like this. Right? So it's going to be 351 in octal. Okay, people, did you got this? There are two ways of doing it. And again, remember, you can have these things in your MCQs as well. Right? Okay. So if you got it correctly, you can have 2 marks for that. Right? So moving to the second question. So second question says, the second part says, consider the following logic circuit diagram. Present the equivalent Boolean expression for the above logic circuit, which is very easy, right? So what we are going to do is we are going to write what are the values of these particular things, right? So you got P on one line, so you are going to receive a P over here. You are going to receive Q over here. And again, very same way, you are going to receive P over here and Q over here. This is an OR gate. It's doing the addition. So it outputs P plus Q. It's better you have the brackets. This is a Nand gate. That means it performs P and Q, the multiplication. After the multiplication, it performs a NOT. So we can say P dot Q, a total bar will be there. And this is an AND gate. So what you can do is the inputs that is getting, so the same output is going to be the input for these two things. So that means P plus Q will do the dot operation with P dot Q total bar, right? Or else you can write it the other way around as well, like this, P dot Q total bar. It's better you have the total bar at the outside of the brackets. That is what it means literally. Dot P plus Q. Right? You can go one of the ways, right? So we'll give you 2 marks for this. Right? And if you miss the brackets of P dot Q bar, it doesn't matter. But for P plus Q, you must have the brackets. Otherwise, it's going to be a wrong one. Right. So moving forward, yeah, let's go by the marking scheme. That will be easier for us to discuss. And it is asking, the third one is asking, like to, oh, what they say, let me see. Yeah, the third one says a company use its own file server to store electronic documents, spreadsheet, and images. In order to reduce the cost, it decided to store these files in a cloud-based drive. So they are using a file server to reduce the cost. They decided to store these things on the cloud service, right? Write down one benefit of using a cloud-based drive in addition to reducing cost. Yeah, so they have given many. So these are the answers that they have given. So like you can have better or improved performance, fewer maintenance, higher reliability, better security. So likewise, if you got any alternative answers, just let me know. And they have specifically says no marks for instant software updates. If you're reading something like that, you're not going to have marks for that, right? So if you got any alternative answers, just let me know. Right, so in the next part, what they are asking is write down one disadvantage of using the cloud-based drive. So those can be like this: constant internet connection required, okay, hold on. Lalindi, you have said no need to allocate space in the hard disk for these softwares. Hold on. Let me check the question first. So they are asking benefits. Yeah, you can go with the marks though. That doesn't matter. And Imashi had as provide space to store data. Provide space to store data. Amashi, that's going to be a problem because the storing facility will eventually, right? Anyway, it's going to provide the space for you. So what they are asking is, what are the benefits that you are going to get out of that thing? Like having more space, or like you can like have the facility of, have the benefit of extending the space as required. That is going to be a good answer. කියන අපිට storage වැඩි කරගන්න ඕන නම් cloud එකෙන් ඉඳලා වැඩි කරගන්න පුළුවන්. Right? Okay. Yeah, so for the disadvantages, these things: constant internet connection required. It is a must when you are using a cloud-based services. Good internet connection required, because weak internet connections will be like almost like give you a headache. The data transferring rate is not very good, means it will take a lot of time to retrieve data, to update data, to upload data, right? It's going to be a headache anyway. And depends on third party. That means none of yours, right? Why they are saying about third party, it is always when something happens, there are two parties. They are like දෙපාර්ශවයක් ඉන්නවා කියලා අපි අරගන්න, right? third party කියලා කියන්නේ අපි ඒකයි, තුන්වෙනි පාර්ශවයක් කියන. අපේ ගනුදෙනුවක් වෙනකොට, ඒක transaction එකක් වෙනකොට, we got two parties with us. So that's why we are referring the cloud computing as a third party, right? And security issues. Some can argue security is much better when it comes to the cloud computing, and some can argue there is a risk of being having those files to someone else's hand, right? Those kind of things, and privacy issues, right? You can go for that. Any one of that will give you 1 mark. Yeah, and the fourth one, right? So it is asking for the inputs, processors, and outputs. So how we are going to determine this? I'm using my red pen to indicate the inputs. Geeta uses an automated teller machine to withdraw money from her bank account. First, she inserts the ATM, right? So I'm using my red pen for the inputs. ATM card is going to be an input and enters the secret PIN code. PIN code is going to be an input. Then she enters amount of money. Then she enters amount of money she wants to withdraw. So amount of money she wants to withdraw is going to be an input. The system checks, that is going to be a process, checks the balance processors are in the blue color. In her account and dispense money. Dispense in money is an output. And the balance available in her account is more than the amount of the money Geeta wants to withdraw. That is the condition. It will dispense uh, if the balance is bigger than what she is asking, right? Otherwise, it says insufficient funds. At the same time, the system updates the balance available by deducting this thing. So updating the balance, update balance is going to be a process. Yes. So reds are for inputs, blues are for processors, and greens are for outputs, right? And let's go through the marking scheme as well. So for inputs, PIN number, amount to withdraw, card details or card. And for processing, update account, compare on that manner, like if it is bigger than the amount that she requested, right? And check amount, and balance, validate, PIN, yeah, those can be taken as the processes. Output, account balance, cash, money. So you have to go only one thing you have to write regarding one category, right? So the marks are given in this manner. So 0.5 for one is correct, 1 mark. If any two is correct, 2 marks when all are correct. Right. Then the fifth part, they are asking you to match the things, right? So select in a menu option using optical mouse. So you need the port. So they have given some ports at the right side, and the activity, you have to match the particular port with the activity. So for optical mouse, you need a USB. So here, USB. Listen to a song using the headphone. So headphone is going to connect to the audio ports. So this is audio ports. And accessing the internet through a local area network, LAN, so that comes with the RJ45. So here it's going to be RJ45. And show a video clip with multimedia projector, it's the HDMI. So apart from HDMI, you can use a VGA as well, but VGA is not here, so HDMI goes like this. So A is USB, B is audio port, C is RJ45, D is HDMI. So 0.5 for each part, right? Let's quickly finish the very first one, right? So we can go for the other things at the next day. So the sixth one, yeah, it is asking about the tools that they have used to do this modification at the right hand side. So with the first choice, the green IT, the size of the font is being increased, right? So you can use, for one, it is either B or C, right? You can use any of those. Second one is being bold. Bold is on here with the H, right? And third one, you have given what you call a bullet list. So it is the F, which is the unordered list or bullet list. We refer it like that. So this is going to be F. And the very last line, it is being italicized, right? So the italic, so the letter is I. So 1, it is either B or C, 2, it is H, 3, it is going to be F, and 4, it is going to be I. If you got those things correctly, 0.5 for each correct answer. Right. In 7th, again, they are asking you to match the things, the protocols, and these some terms regarding this. Large collection of electronic documents. So it is the www, which has the HTML documents, which is an electronic document. So it's a large collection. So large word, will give you the idea. You have to go with www. So this is going to be www, World Wide Web. Transfer large file from one computer to another over the internet. So file is being transferred. So it's the FTP, file transfer protocol you need, right? So this is going to be FTP for this. And translate URL to IP address. Now, why we need to translate our URL into IP address? It's not our requirement, it's the machine's requirement, because machine can understand things, or like machine can understand another machine or refer another machine using the IP address. So like regardless of giving a domain name like www.google.com, that can be identified by us, the human, but not by the machine. So for machine, that www.google.com should be translated into the relevant IP address, or the machine should say, or the browser should say what the particular IP address that you need to get connected with, right? So then there is a server which does that on behalf of us. So that is called domain name system server. In short form, it's going to be DNS. So this is the one who is converting the domain name into the IP address. The protocol to access web pages. So web pages are built with hypertext. So when you are accessing it, you have to go on several rules. The internet says you have to go on in several rules. That rule or the protocol is introduced by the hypertext transfer protocol, so which is HTTP, right? So it goes like this. P is www, Q is FTP, R is DNS, S is HTTP. So 0.5 for each one. Vihasna, like only for the first answer, you can have more than one tool doer. And again, if you are writing something irrelevant, the marks won't be given to you. So that particular marks will be reduced. So it's better you stick into the specific tool, that's all. And again, if it is justifiable, then you are given the marks, right? So what is the place that you have gone with more tools to it? Yeah, Vihasta, you can brief me while we are doing the things, right? Yes, first one, what you have gone with do. Just send me the options, so I'll tell you whether you are going to take the marks or not. Right, I'm moving forward. In the 8th one, they're asking you to match the specific tool, right, of the graphical from the graphical software. So selecting a part of the image based on its color, that can be done by this magic wand, right, or the fuzzy tool in our gym, right? So this is going to be 4. Moving a selected part of the image, this will does like it is having the arrows for all the directions, so it is going to be 1. Erase a part of the image, so it is going to be the eraser anyway, so it's going to be 2. Change the color of the selected part of the image, it is the pen bucket, which is 3. So W is 4, X is 1, Y is 2, and Z is 3. Again, you can have 0.5 for each part. Yes, for the people, I'm sorry, my connection got a problem. Yeah, Vihansa, Dua, are you having like ABH for all the things? Like for the first one? Yeah, like A cannot be taken to because you can find the same font style. right? B can have, H again you can't do because it's not been bold, it's been increased, right? Even though the boldness, bold කරපු එක convince කරගන්න පුළුවන් වුණත්, it's not definitely the A. So in that case, you are not going to have the marks do it, right? For the second one, what are the answers you went with? So first one, you can't have the marks for that. Yeah, so until Vihasna sent her answers, the ninth one, this is a very famous picture which describes what are the relationship between the liveware application software. X is going to be the operating system and the hardware, right? So give an example for each, for hardware, application software, and liveware. Like there are many, right? So it's like you can go for hardwares, anything like monitor, keyboard, mouse, like speakers, printers, anything, right? And softwares, you have to tell some names, people, right? Don't just go for word processing softwares, which is not PowerPoint presentation. Oh, I'm sorry, people, sorry, I'm getting disconnected continuously due to my internet connection. So I was talking about the ninth part, which is this the examples for hardware, software, and liveware. So for hardware, you can go for any kind of hardware, right? Like mouse, keyboard, monitor, system unit, right? Anything, RAM, and all these things. And for software, it's better you give the name, right? Like MS Office, Adobe Acrobat Reader, Open Office, right? MS Word, MS PowerPoint, likewise, right? So you have to go with Geetaka. Right, I think there is a connection problem regarding my side, which has happened very recently. Okay, people, since it is 9, let's stop the session from this point. Right, so I'll start the session by next week from the 9th question of the first part, right? We'll carry on from that point onwards, right? Otherwise, it's been late and I have to get ready to my other class at by 9:30. So yeah, so I'm going to wind up the session from this point, and I'm very sorry for being late today. I'll make sure it won't happen again, right? So thank you very much for being the part of this session. I'll send you the things, the recording, and you can refer if you want later, right? So we'll meet you on the very same time by next week as well, right? Okay, thank you very much, everyone. Have a nice weekend.